Hi you guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be all about hair growth and the moon phases and when the best time is to be cutting your hair according to the moon phase. This is something that I've actually been following for a couple of years now. I don't know why I've never really talked about it on my channel or on my Instagram or anything, but I mentioned it maybe a couple of weeks ago now, and I had so many of you asking me to make a post about it or talk more about it. So here we are. I figured today would be a really fun time to get into that a little bit more. I really follow the lunar cycle closely for so many things in my life, especially in terms of like my spirituality and stuff. And I guess that's why I never really talked about it much, because my spirituality is kind of something that I like to keep close to my chest a little bit. I don't really like to talk about it much on the internet, but my hair care is such a huge part of my like self-care and daily care rituals, I guess, that I really love to embed it in with my spiritual practice, especially in terms of like following the moon and stuff. So this is something that I really enjoy and like practice myself, so I'm really excited to talk about it. But before we begin, I would also like to thank Louisa for sponsoring today's video. I've mentioned Louisa jewelry on this channel so many times before. Their pieces are really affordable, most of them just starting at around $39, and they are tested rigorously for like tarnish prevention. They're tested through humidity and to make sure that they're nice and strong so they're not going to be breaking on you. I wear the same jewelry all the time. You guys know I'm always wearing like these little hoops up here. I wear the same rings all the time, so for me it's really important that my jewelry can hold up. I talked about this little mood ring that I got from them recently, and I've been wearing it every day since, and it just completes every look so well. And I also love that their jewelry is super stackable. I always wear these little hoops from them in my second hole on my ears, so I like to change up like the main earring, and literally no matter what I pair them with, they always look really cute. I also really love that they have a 2-year warranty on all their pieces, so if something does go wrong with one of your pieces, you can exchange it, and exchanges are super easy because their shipping is free when you're doing exchanges. And I also really love how much silver that they've been adding to their collection. I'm a silver girly forever and ever, and it's always really hard for me to find really cute trendy pieces online that are in silver. They're usually in gold, so I love that they've been adding more silver to their collection. It just makes me really happy because it matches all of my other stuff. They recently sent me some really cute earrings to show you guys as well, and the first pair are these little dangly hoops with a tiny little pearl hanging from them. It's such a pretty little detail. It adds so much without being too crazy, and it's just such a simple way to spice up my look. I'm absolutely obsessed with them. They also sent me these adorable little heart earrings. They are so precious. Like, look how cute they are. Again, they're just such a simple little design, but they add so much to your look, and like, I don't know, I just love the little heart details. I think they're so cute. And then the last pair are these really pretty hoops. I'm so excited to wear these out tomorrow night. Actually, I'm going to a dinner for my fiance's birthday, and I think these are gonna look so nice with a nice little messy updo. The dress I'm wearing is just gonna go perfectly with these, and again, it stacks really well with the other earrings that I already have in. And Louisa was also kind enough to give me a discount code for you guys, so you can click the link down in my description box or use code organically Anna at checkout for 20% off. So thank you again to Louisa Jewelry for sponsoring today's video, and let's just get into the moon phases. So we already know that the lunar cycle heavily affects how things function down here on Earth. It affects the tides in the ocean, and we also know that the farmer's almanac is based on the lunar cycle, so the way that people are farming and planting their crops has to do with the lunar cycle. Our menstrual cycles are linked up to the lunar cycle very heavily as well. We know that the moon affects the tides, like I said before, and our bodies are also made up of 60% water, so it really affects kind of how our energy shifts as well. And I read a really interesting article about this that I'll have linked down below, but not only does it affect the actual content of water in our bodies, but it affects how the minerals in that water get absorbed into our hair, basically. So the cycle of the moon helps to determine like how the minerals in our body are going to be carried up to our hair follicles and absorbed. I find this stuff super interesting, and the article I'm going to have linked down below goes into a lot more detail, so if you're interested in knowing more of the backstory of how the lunar cycle affects hair growth, I'll have that link down below for you guys. So starting off at the beginning of the lunar cycle, we have the new moon, and this is when the moon is starting its new phase or new cycle, and this is when it's really dark in the sky. You might be able to see just a little bit of it as like a little crescent moon, like just a tiny sliver. This phase of the moon really represents new beginnings. It's a great time to start new manifestations and really call in new things that you want for the new moon cycle or for whatever phase that you're entering. The general energy during this time also seems to be shifted really inward, so this is considered a critical time for us, and it's not really recommended or suggested to do any big hair changes or changes in general during this time. So it's not recommended to get any type of haircut or get your hair colored or do anything like that, because it's a critical time for our bodies. A lot of people tend to feel really run down during this time or tired. It can just be a lot for us. I personally feel really energized during the new moon. Honestly, it's probably my favorite part of the moon phase. I just feel like I have so much energy, especially in terms of like manifestation, but I normally don't cut my hair during this phase at all. Any damage that's done to the hair during this time as well also tends to take longer to heal or like sort itself out. So if you end up going through like a bad haircut or something, it's probably going to take longer to grow out. During the new moon instead, I feel like it's better to really focus on your self-care. You can maybe start like a new hair routine during this time or plan out like your new capillary schedule or something. The next moon phase is the waxing moon, and this is the 2-week period that it takes for the moon to fill up to the full moon. So as the moon's energy is filling up, this is also a really great time to increase hair growth. So if you get your hair cut during this time, it's supposed to increase hair growth, it's supposed to help strengthen your hair, and it's also supposed to help make your hair thicker over time. Because this moon cycle carries the energy of growth, it's a really good time to get a trim if you're trying to grow out a bad haircut, if you want your bangs to grow out, or if you're generally just trying to increase growth. Again, you also have to keep in mind that your genetics play a huge role, so there's no way to increase your hair growth or hair thickness past what is genetically possible for you. Next up, we have the full moon, and this is when energy can be really peaking, and a lot of people feel super energetic this time. Personally, I feel the most tired and run down during a full moon. I don't know like what it is, but something about the full moon just makes me want to sleep forever and ever. So the full moon is also considered to be another critical period for the body. Many people say that this is the best time to get a haircut because the moon is peaking in its growth energy. The full moon is also a sacred time for many people. We do a lot of big rituals on the full moons, and it can just be a really high energy period for a lot of people. This is also considered another critical phase for people as well. I would say it depends on what you feel and like what your personal beliefs are. I personally don't get my hair cut on the full moon just because I feel so tired. So I feel like for me, a big change or getting a haircut or anything like that just wouldn't be conducive for my goals. For other people, if you feel really good during the full moon, or if your practice really focuses on the full moon, then feel free to go ahead and get a haircut. It's really up to you. This article also speaks more about how, depending on what astrological sign the full moon is in, it could really determine whether or not it is a good time for you to get your hair cut. So I'll leave that link down below again. I would really recommend giving it a read. Personally, on the full moon, I like to focus on like glamours. This is really when I like to give myself a long self-care night. I focus on hair masks. So this is usually when I like to hermit a little bit and do my own self-care rituals privately. Then the last phase of the moon is the waning moon, and this is when the moon is getting smaller as it heads back into the dark moon phase. And as the moon's energy is growing smaller, this is also when your hair growth is going to be slower according to this like lunar cycle. So if you want to slow down your hair growth, this is the best time to get a haircut. If you have shorter hair or you're trying to maintain like a bob style, it would be a good time to get it cut or trimmed during this time. If you would like your bangs to grow slower, this is a good time to trim up your bangs and keep them shorter. It just really depends on like what your hair growth goals are. I feel like most people are like, why would you want your hair to grow slower? But if you're trying to maintain a certain hairstyle, this is a good time to do that. And then after the waning cycle, we're back into the new moon and the cycle starts all over again. And that is like the lunar calendar, which I think is so interesting. Like I usually cut my hair during the waxing phase. I usually try to do it like just after the new moon kind of, so that I have like the full 2 weeks of growth really up until the full moon. But obviously it depends on scheduling. Sometimes it doesn't work out that way, especially if you're not cutting your own hair. If you're going to a salon or something, you might not always be able to get an appointment like during the correct moon phase for whatever you're doing. So it's not something that I get super stressed about or anything like that. I just think it's a fun way to incorporate like my spirituality with my hair care, and it's something that a lot of people have been following for a very long time. So I just think it's really interesting and fun. But I'd love to know what you guys think. Is this something that you follow, or is it something that you're interested in following? Do you think that it's just a bunch of hocus pocus? Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I'm really interested to hear your perspectives. Thank you again to Ana Luisa Jewelry for sponsoring today's video. Don't forget to click the link in the description box if you would like to receive 20% off your order. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you found this video interesting and helpful. Again, I will have that article linked down below as well, so feel free to check that out if you would like to know more. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.